Hey, what's up gamers? Welcome back to Madhouse Gaming News and Updates. And today we're going to talk about Warzone for beginners. Things to look for that might help you improve, things that might help you get the grasp of the entire game. Now, Warzone is a free-to-play game. You can download it at your PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, or on the Blizzard launcher, or the Blizzard, but battle.net. And there's a couple things in Warzone that when I first played it kind of like bummed me out a little bit, I guess you could say. First I want to talk about things that work that I feel like the game needs to improve on, and then next we're going to talk about things that you can look out for as a new player that might help you improve, and you can work your way around that little setup or around that information once you get the grasp of the whole game.
Warm-up's done. Time to kick this off.
Now first, things that the game needs to improve on. I think the game needs to improve, number one, the armor situation. You can only carry 5 sets of armor, 5 blocks of armor that heals you. Now you only have 3 blocks to heal total, which carries you over to 250 health. I think that's good, but I think you need to keep it in increments. Since you have 3, you need to keep it at 3. So have at least carry a 6, 9, around that, around that area, just because once you get to the point, you only can carry 2. And whenever your block is a quarter or half or 75% or even fractured just a little bit, once you use up 1 block, it takes up that little space. So armor is, granted, it's not really scarce, but I feel like carrying it at mid to late game is very crucial. Having 6 to 9 could keep everything even, can make sure that you can take on 2 or 3 fights at a time. Also, when you get a kill, I think that it should reward you not just for fast region, because if you're trios, that's the main game right now. They did introduce solos yesterday, and it's really fun, but trios is the main attraction, right? So I feel like once you get a kill, you should get at least 1 shield block, so it rewards you, so that way you're prepared to fight there are 2 other teammates that they're going to be either sniping you or shooting you. Next is footsteps. Footsteps for enemies is almost non-existent in certain areas, unless you're on a platform where literally you're hitting you're literally hitting
fucking hilarious.
You're literally hitting the like metal or wood or like an element. Concrete, you're pretty much silent. There's no enemy footsteps at all, and when you have dead silence, it pretty much mutes everything that they're doing. So it's very powerful. Footsteps are, and I feel like we're going to talk about some things that can actually counteract that for now, but that's a big thing that they need to work on, footsteps, which I feel like that's a big thing in a lot of BRs. The self-res is extremely strong. It's not just extremely strong in the sense that it can actually bring you back up. In solos, it's really good. But there is no sound effect. Your character doesn't say anything. There's nothing. Not even an enemy character says something, and there's reactions to almost everything that they do. So I feel like that's a huge misstep right there. I feel like you need to at least have like some sort of a sound effect. You need to have the character say something while they're rezzing, or at least your character, the enemy character, saying something that oh, enemy rezzing or enemy syringing or something along those lines. I feel like that would really improve the self-res and keep everything balanced as far as that goes. The res timer is ridiculous, because the self-res, if you self-res halfway, it counts part of the res timer. It's kind of broken in the sense that the self-res is almost immortal. You can just go all the way up to 70% and have your teammates carry it the other way, and you won't use your self-res. I feel like that's kind of overpowered. That kind of defeats the purpose of a self-res. You need to have limitations on the res timer. I feel like the mounting system on hills needs to be fixed up. Once you get to a certain area on the mountain area, you can be kind of left out in the open, and there's no way around it to go inside the smoke, and I don't think the gas can carry you across the mountain along those roads. So that's huge, and the mounting system is overall very broken. It needs to be fixed up. It needs to be tightened up. It's almost there, though. Rocket launchers, I don't think that rocket launchers should be this common. Rocket launchers are in every, probably like there's about 6 or 7 in each major, area. I feel like that's not a really good thing to have. I feel like rocket launchers should only be in buy stations, or extremely rare, maybe in like cases or in rare cases, because rocket launchers is an area effect, and it does a massive amount of damage to one player. I feel like it's too much. You need to at least have some way of countering that, or at least some way of implementing, oh, well, he got a rocket launcher, okay, all fair. Not just hope, 1 second he gets into a room and you get a shotgun, he gets a rocket launcher, So it's just, it's really hard to play around that. A suggestion for buy stations, maybe to implement a tank at one point, to have like at least 20,000 credits, $20,000. That'd be kind of cool. It has to be 2-man though, can't be solos, obviously. And I think the tank would be really cool to have. I think that it'd be implemented really. That'd be really fun to have. And obviously, we'd have to do some tweaks into it. But there's so much that can destroy a tank so easily. I feel like it's not a game-winning change. And obviously, you can lock it. After a certain area, like once it gets halfway through the match, you can lock the buy station saying you can't buy the tank anymore. So I don't know. I feel like that'd be really cool, or at least add that into the plunder, because at that point it really doesn't matter. Cash vanishes when you drop it on the stairs. That needs to be fixed up, I feel like, if they haven't already. I haven't tested it out since week 2 on the game, so I have no idea exactly. So I'm going to have to test that out and see exactly if it works or not, or if they fixed it. But I feel like, just something to watch out for, that, cash does vanish when you get the stairs. That's pretty much it for things that I feel like they need to improve on. They really get it spot on the game. I mean, there's a really good system. The buy stations, you get your personal loadout, you can get UAVs, you can get personal airstrikes. It's a really good system to have into a battle royale. You can even res your teammates $4,500, and it's relatively easy to get that much money, if not already having it by the time the fights are ending. So and the gulag system, giving everyone a second chance. I feel like that's a really good system to have in a battle royale game. They kind of took what Apex had and then went with it in a different way, and a better way, I feel like, and it's I think that's really good. Next we're going to talk about things that new players can watch out for and maybe improve upon. Number 1, the landing. Landing's very important in this game, obviously, since it is a battle royale game. Landing near buy stations is extremely advised, highly advised, because you can get your loadout very fast. You can get all the UAV, you can get initiated fight, and typically around buy stations there's going to be bounties, there's going to be contracts. Contracts are things that you can get money for, or you can take advantage of it. There is a recon that will tell you the next circle. There is a bounty that will initiate fights for you, that you can go find somebody. It's a really cool GTA way of putting into battle royale. And landing near a buy station or a shopping cart on the map is very crucial. I feel like that's a game changing. 2, I think that UAV is a must to buy late and mid game. It gives you an advantage. Now people are going to be using perks that counteract that. However, in late game it's going to be less common because of the gulag and people finding their loadouts. The only way to get those perks to make you invisible is to get a loadout, and in late game it's almost impossible to get one unless one's magically hit this circle already. The class setup is pretty much easy, and you can really pretty much go any other way you want. But I feel like this setup that I'm going to talk about is a little bit easier to play with, and it'll give you advantage over the people that have been playing this as experienced. Now, when you're playing this as a new player, you're going to be hesitant to go out into the world and, to go out into the open and find things. You're going to be more about a camper, which is okay. Playing defensive is alright. If you're a good player and you're playing camping, it's kind of a snobby way to play, in my opinion. The first thing is to have your technical slot in the class setup of your loadout. I would go for a heartbeat sensor overall anything, because you'll know where your enemies are at, you'll know where to go, and you can basically creep up on the storm while you're engaging fights and not be scared of having a third party or having to know where the enemies are, or to go to buy a UAV, since you can only use one at a time. The next is lethal. I find the Semtex is very crucial. It sticks, it blows up, it has an area effect that not like no other, and I feel like it's must to have. With the frag grenade, it takes some time. Once it lands, it takes a little bit more time to actually explode. But the Semtex does not. Once it lands, it takes less time, and it does much more damage. And you can stick an enemy, and I feel like that's much more advantage. Or stick a roof, or whatever the case may be. It's much more accurate than a frag grenade bouncing around everywhere. Weapons, it doesn't really matter. I use the M4A1 for mid to long range and for crowd control purposes. As you can see right here, I get that headshot, and that's what defined that whole fight right there. My second weapon I use is a sniper rifle, and this is a good example of it. Once you pin down one player, you can get down another player without using so many bullets. You can take down that guy at ease. Or it's really good to have an advantage when you're guiding, when you have height advantage. Those two guns are very good. Now it's up to you if you want to use thermal. I don't use thermal. I think it kind of messes up my my aim. For me, it does. For the two people I play with, Zergs and Frisky, they don't really care. Frisky likes to use thermal. He actually asked me several times, how can I see without using it? But I don't know. I go with instinct, and I go with natural, the natural ways of life, I guess. When something moves into the forest, I shoot at it. It doesn't matter if it's an enemy or not.
There's armor everywhere around here.
Yeah, God, I need armor.
The second thing I like to have, and okay, so the other thing we're going to talk about is the perks. So there's 3 perks you can pick. Obviously, if you played multiplayer, you know that. But if you're a beginner player and you haven't bought multiplayer, there's several perks to go through and unlock. The first one you get, I believe, is double time. Is very good for evasive movements when you're out in the open. As a new player, and you have the heartbeat sensor, and you have these weapons for mid to long range, so you're prepared to push fights, prepared to take long range fights. Double time is very good as far as getting to that point. Once you get once you get further along the lines, I feel like cold-blooded is a very good perk as well. That goes onto your perk 1 as well. Now you can only pick one perk 1, one perk 2, obviously, and one perk 3. So it's up to you on how you play and what's your play style as a FPS player. Cold-blooded is very good if you're sniper oriented. It makes you very hard to detect. When you have the heartbeat sensor and you're pushing a fight, they will not know if you're pushing the fight unless they can hear your footsteps. So I feel like that is very good. The second perk I would go with is either Ghost, for, again, harder detection for UAVs and heartbeat sensors. So you're pushing, and if they have the same thing you're using, it would be, you guys would be basically canceling each other out unless you see them and you're pushing them. The second is High Alert. High Alert makes you, well, whenever someone aims at you, your screen goes a different font, and it shows that someone's either aiming at you or there's someone near you. And it's very useful if you're, again, so you're a new player and you're camping and you're not really quite sure if you want to push. So you're worried about that third party, and you would know if that once you get into a fight, you'll know if someone's aiming at you and it's not the people that you're aiming at, not to engage the fight. The third perk is Tracker. Tracker is, again, for the awareness issue. I feel like it's really good for pushing. It's really good to know where the enemy's at. And this build is just strictly defensive. This is not something that will make you a pro player. This is not something that will make you a really good, Warzone player. This is something that I used that helped me out as a new player, sticking to the Warzone Battle Royale. Battle Hardened also, for the third perk. It makes you more prepared for the pushes that you're gonna be doing, or even an enemy push. So those flash grenades, stun grenades, all those grenades and gases, it makes you almost invulnerable to them, and it's very useful. Team communication, either a microphone or a pinging system. You have to go through your options to see your configuration, your key bindings, and see where that ping system is. But you have two different ones. You have one where it pings an item or location, and then you have another one where it pings an enemy. And now it's very strong. Once you ping an enemy, it travels with that enemy, and it's very powerful. I believe that that's something that needs to be changed later on, but I feel like it's very useful. And because obviously you can see where the enemy's at. I don't know if it's something that they purposely did. If so, then go ahead and keep it. If not, and it's something that you're not intended to have, I would throw it out. But it's not, again, it's not groundbreaking. They can get away so easily, and it only goes on the person for 2 seconds, if that. But team communication is very crucial. Knowing where the enemy's at, knowing where things are at immediately is much better than trying to find it yourself as far as the pinging system goes. Cluster strikes and airstrikes are very good takeoff campers. So if people are camping a building and you can't move from a position, then it is always good to back off, find a buy station, and get a cluster strike or airstrike, or always have one of your teammates to have it at all times. Vehicles are very good, but they are good for short range to mid range. If you go for so long, you are detected. Well, you're automatically detected once you get into the vehicle as a red vehicle. But it is very crucial to get out of there, because people will know where you're going or where you're being pushed, and you can see it across the map. Once you push M or your map key binding, you can see it wherever it is at. It is very crucial to get out of vehicles as fast as possible. Contracts are very good starting off, because it helps you get that loadout drop that you need. Now, loadout drop is something that you can, once you make those class setups that we talked about, you can actually get those perks in those loadouts. Now, they randomly drop throughout the map, but you can buy one starting off for 6,500, I believe, right now, unless they updated it, and it's very good. It's powerful because you can get those perks, and it's getting advantage of. Gas masks are a must for mid to late game. Gas masks, you have 5 charges. You can survive the storm for 12 seconds total. They do not recharge. You use up those 5 canisters, and that's it. You take off the mask and you start choking, and the gas does kick your booty. It does a lot of damage. Not like any other storm or any other gas, any other game. This does damage, and you do not want to be stuck into it. Following it is an advantage in itself, I feel like. The pinging system, we talked about this before, is very good, and I feel like this is something that needs to be talked about. This is not necessarily a communication substitute. It's always crucial to use both, but to have a pinging system in a VR game is almost imperative, because it identifies what object, where it's at, and then you can communicate the rest. It's pretty simple, but I feel like the pinging system is more useful on finding those enemies and pinging the enemy locations. Those are very good. Again, these are things that aren't going to make you a pro player. These are things that are just going to make you really good and help you play the game starting off.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
So I hope you guys find this interesting. I really do appreciate all the support from you guys. If you guys want to check out my live feed, it is on twitch.tv/killfuller. And enjoy the rest of the video. I do appreciate every bit of it.
I have a heartbeat. I have a heartbeat.
Is there any...
Final deployment is loading up. Finish the fight.
Take that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Gas is closing. Get to the new safe zone.
I don't have... You should fucking carry more
Be
armor
advised,
things.
enemy team is tracking your location.
We gotta go. We gotta go.
Loadout drop headed your way.
Not good. Be prepared to use your UAV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a team northeast of it somewhere. I'm gonna try and test it. At least 1 or 2 teams. I think a solo player and a full team. And then there's north to west.
We're moving.
Oh Jesus.
I only have 2.
We need eyes. Send that
Popping
recon.
that out. Popping that out.
UAV
Okay,
entering
I'm gonna push
the
this
AO.
team on the left.
Okay.
There's a 2, oh, it's a 3-man, it's a 3-man.
Well, there's 2 teams fighting each other.
Fighting. I think the safety got here.
Moving.
We gotta go to the left, I think.
Yeah. Remember, they'll see me.
Yeah. They're still low threat.
Be
So.
advised,
right there.
UAV is bingo fuel.
Oh,
RTB
they
for
got
resupply.
UAV too.
That thing's flashing, bro. Oh, I see him.
Target sighted.
Broke armor
We're
in
in
one.
the zone. We're in the zone. We just go straight northeast. How far can I use my cluster strike?
Broke his armor again.
Allied
Yeah,
cluster
I've
strike
used my
inbound.
cluster strike on me.
Oh shit.
Be careful.
Yeah, I've downed one.
Oh shit!
Bro, I'm down another. I'm down. I'm down 3. He's gonna die. That's a full squad wipe with 1
Oh
cluster.
my
Yeah, but
God.
remember they were fighting a team.
Okay.
You probably
Gas
just
is
crossing the road
closing
now.
in. Relocating the safe zone.
Over here.
9
died,
targets
right?
remaining
He
standing. Sort them out.
I don't see anybody else. There's 10.
Over here?
9.
This way.
We have still
Moving.
1 more radar, right? UAV.
Oh shit!
I'll go. Oh, right on me.
Next to me. No armor?
Found him.
You guys are good?
Cluster strike,
Another cluster
okay.
strike.
Yeah. One up here.
I don't see anybody so far.
That guy definitely would have had friends. Just let me know when you want the UAV action.
I think it is, right? Because it wasn't said, didn't say squad wide.
It didn't send squad wide, no. But they
Right
could
over
be.
here, the right over
There's a guy
here.
over here.
Gas is inbound.
2 guys over here. Can I mark
Light
people,
movement,
dude?
light
I see
movement.
them in my sights, man.
Ignore that. Over here.
Not Battlefield. Spot
Time's
stop.
up. Get to the safe zone.
Okay, we can creep up here. You just need to be careful with this. There's
Light
team.
movement.
Team.
Target sighted.
Downed him.
Okay.
Team wipe.
Okay,
People
good.
behind as well. No, it was that zone.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
there's definitely people east.
We
Two
got-
teams,
yeah,
two
yeah.
teams.
I need armor, bro.
Okay, well, one team at the
Evaded
house.
the enemy track. Good
I
work.
think.
Yeah, I'm going down to the zone because I got gas.
Dude, no, the what?
Gas mask.
Yeah,
I want the armor.
we need to creep in. We need to creep in now.
Yeah.
He just dropped here.
Light movement.
I'm shooting. I
Gas
think
is
it's a solo
closing.
player.
Get to the new safe zone.
I'm popping my
Nice,
UAV.
nice, nice. It's a full team now.
Friendly
Use
UAV overhead.
It's in the house.
UAV.
It's just one guy.
One guy, one guy.
Unless we're running ghosts.
He just came out. He just came out.
Okay.
Someone's
Nice.
in the top window,
You can
right?
res me. You can res me. You can res me. 2. Right. Did you finish it?
I finished that one guy, yeah.
Alright.
Gas is closing in.
So we have the circle. Just back up. We can play the circle.
Oh, it's just 2 teams.
Yeah, it's just 1v1.
One guy.
Yeah.
I have shotguns, bro. Oh, is he poking?
Knock his armor. Knock his armor.
Allied cluster strike inbound. Mission accomplished.
Oh shit,
There we go.
boys!
Cluster strikes are actually so broken.
Airstrikes are really good as well.
Yeah.
Airstrikes are like more
In
in
memoriam.
memoriam.
That's fucking cool.
Oh, we're getting evac'd as well, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Look at all these TTVers. Your nose is so broken, Whiskey.